You're listening to The Bird Bath, presented by The Fountain Report. I'm your host, Ryan Leach. Welcome back to The Bird Bath. Each week, we scrape the surface of the news you need to know, so let's get into it. Kicking us off this week is the news about Zoetis. Zoetis has taken a big hit on the stock market last week after a hard-hitting news story from the Wall Street Journal suggests that the company's arthritis shots, Librela and Solensia, may sicken dogs and cats. Zoetis stock took nearly a 10% hit and continued to fall on Monday. The Zoetis drugs gained FDA approval in 2022 and 2023 respectively, and they're the first antibody drugs for pets. They treat osteoarthritis by targeting a protein called nerve growth factor, but vets say that could exacerbate underlying nerve conditions or other medical problems. It's something that's been talked about ever since it started coming on, and I, for one, personally, without a medical degree in any sense at all, actually do have one of my dogs on Librela and have had great experiences with it, but have seen that there are a lot of news stories coming out about people with different experiences. So health regulators in the US and Europe have reportedly received thousands of reports of negative side effects, but in some statements, Zoetis said that less than 1% of animals who've received a combined 18 million doses of Librela and Solensia have experienced side effects. After the news story came out from the Wall Street Journal, Zoetis quickly issued a message to the industry and everyone working in veterinary clinics to retain confidence from veterinary providers. What Zoetis is doing to address this is hosting webinars, answering questions with their chief medical officer over the next 2 weeks. I'm going to put a link in the bio because I think it's something that could be really interesting to sit in on. I'm going to make sure that I participate on one and see what the conversation is like. But in a statement sent out to all veterinary partners, the chief medical officer of Zoetis, Dr. Richard Goldstein, said, "I want to underscore that we not only have strong confidence in Librela and Solensia's ability to control OA pain in dogs and cats respectively, but also in the science, safety, and regulatory rigor behind these products." So you've heard from Zoetis, you've heard from the Wall Street Journal, but if you hear anything else, be sure to let us know. I think this is going to be a story that's going to continue to develop, and we'll see what happens with the overall stock price for Zoetis. Great news for people in the insurance industry. The North American pet health insurance sector grew almost 22% in 2023, according to the North American Pet Health Insurance Association, the NAPHIA, which just rolls off the tongue, in their State of the Industry report that they released last Wednesday. According to the report, this was the first time that the North American pet insurance industry exceeded the $4 billion mark, with $4.27 billion in total premiums sold in 2022, and it was over 6 million pets insured across North America. That's a 21% increase over 2022. So the NAPHIA president, Rick Foucher, said, "When we look at our sustained growth across North America, we see a tremendous upside for the industry and are very encouraged about the future." While the growth's exciting for people that are in favor of pet insurance and people looking at it as a way to increase access to care, the U.S. vet market is still under 4% total insurance on pet populations. Now, it is a massive number of pets, though. So if you look at the overall penetration as it compares to smaller countries with much higher penetration, we do have a high number of pets insured, even though there is a much smaller number there. It's something we're going to keep talking about. I'd actually love to hear from all of our listeners. If you would be interested in us having some insiders from within the pet space and also people that are against the insurance space, join on the podcast and maybe have a bit of a spirited conversation. Let me know. It's an idea we're talking about a bit, and I'd love to hear some feedback from our listeners. More startup news. 26 startups have joined the Plug and Play Topeka 2024 Spring Animal Health Ag Tech Accelerator Startup Program, which, if I give that an acronym, it's SJPPTSAHATAAP. But that's not an acronym that they're using. So let's go with the Plug and Play Topeka. So Plug and Play is actually a organization that I had the opportunity to go and visit in San Francisco at their location in Silicon Valley. And they work with major, massive, international, global companies in very interesting sectors, and all sectors, really. They had everything from an electric race car for a Formula E race car, which gets me excited, to ag health, to AI to a massage chair, which also got me very excited. But the companies in the Topeka location for Plug and Play are in the Casey Animal Health Corridor. And although I'm not going to run through all 26 of these companies, I'm going to make sure that I link them in the show notes as well as tag them in the overall post here. But 15 animal health startups and 11 ag tech startups were selected to be able to take part in Plug and Play Topeka's 2024 cohort. And they're early to mid-stage startups, and they're from more than 10 countries, which I thought was kind of cool. We talked a few times about Leap Venture Studios. We talked about some other accelerators, but Plug and Play has a different take that they actually have, as you saw there, 11, almost 50% of their portfolio for this cohort is ag tech, which is pretty cool. It allows you to see a lot more of the things around feed animals, some of the things about climate change and reproductive needs and those sort of things that I thought were really interesting. So Lindsay Lebon, who's the Director of Partner Success for Plug and Play Topeka, said, "We're so lucky to have this program based here in Topeka. We want to continue to collaborate creatively to build on the momentum set up over the last 3 years. We're excited for others to witness the technologies these startup founders have developed to better the ag tech and animal health industries." So if you're not aware, I know I've hit on it actually a couple times this year already, but the Casey Animal Health Corridor is pretty massive. There's more than 300 animal health companies located between Manhattan, Kansas, and Columbia, Missouri, and 4 of the top 10 animal health companies in the world generate 56% of the total animal health diagnostic and pet food sold globally, and $21.5 billion in annual sales reside in this corridor in the Kansas City, Missouri area. So really, really cool. If you're in the area, I highly recommend getting in touch with the Plug and Play folks. They do an incredible job, and they actually have a really cool vision of how they see the industry. Finally, I thought I was late for April Fools, but this was no joke. BarkAir has been announced. So Bark Inc., which is a multi-channel dog food company and supplier of a lot of pet products and dog products, has announced BarkAir. It is a travel experience, as they say, specifically designed for dogs first and their humans second, enabling them to travel together comfortably and conveniently. They're doing 3 different legs right now. You can fly all based out of New York to LA as well as to London. So sounds crazy. And if I'm going to link the thing, you've got to watch. They've got some hilarious videos on there. They've got one that looks like an airline that any of us would want to participate in. And they also had their CEO ride their inaugural flight in a dog kennel to be able to see what the differences of the experiences are like. But it was not as crazy as you think. A lot of you probably don't know maybe some of the history of where I've worked and what I've done in my past, but I worked for a private airline at one point when I was still heavily in the non-veterinary side of startups. And this company, we had chartered planes that flew all over North America and a lot of small regional things. And the number of people that were members of this so that they could travel with their dog was not insignificant. So BarkAir is looking to be able to find a way for people to be able to travel long distances with their dogs. Now, the prices are very high. I just did a spot check on some flights in June, and flying from New York to LA was about $6,000. Now, the tickets are sold, again, in a funny way, but they're sold as a pair, 1 dog, 1 person. And so you're always traveling with your pet. It's supposed to be a sort of a first-class experience. They've got transportation for you when you land. They've got pheromones designed to calm and add a pleasurable experience for the pets. And in their promotion video, they even say that they're planning to bring the first dog park to the skies as well. So be sure to check it out. If you are moving across the country and you're looking for a way to do it without your dog sitting in the backseat of your car and driving for days, or if you don't want to put them in the crate underneath, we've all seen how difficult that can be. Check out BarkAir. If anyone's flown BarkAir, let me know. And BarkAir, if you want me to fly from New York to LA with my dogs, call me. I will do a flight and give a real life review here. But if you haven't seen the videos, yes, it felt like an April Fool's joke. If I'm still getting punked on this, let me know, because it still feels like a joke, but it was actually a real deal for him. So dogsflyfirst.com is BarkAir, and can't wait to see and maybe see some of the influencers that are going to be on some of those flights. So for more on these and other stories, join us by subscribing to The Fountain Report. There's a link in the bio, and don't miss out on any episodes by subscribing and rating the show. Make sure to check us out as well on our TikTok and Instagram at The Bird Bath Pod. For The Bird Bath, I'm Ryan Leach. See you next week.